Another year, another Star Wars movie, and another controversy. And once again, I'm not going to be able to see this movie probably till it comes out on home video. This time specifically because I was very injured and I'm recovering, and it's probably going to take me months of physical therapy to be able to walk around and go places. But the same general rule applies. I haven't seen it yet. My concern isn't specifically with the movie. My real problem here, my big concern, is that every piece of entertainment seems to have become some sort of culture war at this point, where you can't even have a female lead without suddenly being some sort of SJW conspiracy or whatever. For example, I legitimately didn't like Mad Max Fury Road, that is, not the original Mad Max, which I haven't seen in 15, 20 years, something ridiculous like that, so I can't really comment on it. But I didn't like Fury Road, and I thought it was boring. So I'm an anti-feminist and an angry man-baby screaming from his mom's basement. But I legitimately did like The Force Awakens, so I am a feminazi and an SJW who is out to destroy comic books and sci-fi and video games and something Anita Sarkeesian, because she always factors into these things. And then there was the Ghostbusters reboot. Now, I didn't like the original trailer. I liked the last trailer they did a lot better, which isn't saying much in this case. And I ended up with kind of mixed feelings on the movie. There were fun parts of it. There were parts that I didn't like. And so what happened? Naturally, I got dogpiled by both sides. By both the people who think that if you hate the movie, you're an anti-feminist man-child, and the people who think that if you like the movie, it must be because you're a feminazi out to castrate boys. And especially with Star Wars, which I've talked about a lot on this channel when comparing it to popular culture and even social issues, this is something that I grew up with. This is something that's been kind of a big part of my life. It's something that I want to enjoy. And it kind of sucks that I can't just watch the movie, that my opinion on the movie is going to be some sort of political minefield. I don't think that anyone who hates The Force Awakens is automatically a misogynist or a man-child or whatever. I think that there are legitimate reasons to criticize the movie, and I do have criticisms of it. Not the least of which that it followed the beats of the original Star Wars so much that pretty much nothing surprised me, right down to the big Han Solo dance-off with Jar Jar Binks and Poe Dameron. Sorry, spoilers. I don't begrudge people for liking Fury Road. I just don't understand what they see in the movie. For the life of me, I do not understand what they see in that movie. I tried watching it 5 times because it was such a critical darling, and I'm like, what am I missing here? But it bored me every time, and, I never got to the end of it. And Ghostbusters, I don't think I'm going to bother watching it again, but if people really liked it, that's fine, and I can understand why people hated it. I just don't understand the histrionics that it ruined their childhood, because since then I've watched the original Ghostbusters 4 times. Yes, I have no life. I think we've established this already. I actually considered doing a full critical response to Ghostbusters, and the problem that I ended up with is that it requires me to go back and watch a movie where I have large chunks of time where I simply don't like anything that's going on. And while I do think there are good points, that's not exactly a constructive use of my time when I can watch the original or something else that I really like. I've also really grown to hate this expectation that we should be doing things to stick it to the other side. I get supporting the media that you like, but when you start buying things that you don't like just to stick it to the other guy, then there's a problem. And I do admittedly see this more from one side than the other, but I think that most parties here are guilty. I mean, full disclosure, I did buy Mad Max Fury Road, but mostly because it actually cost less to buy the Blu-ray on sale than it did to rent it, so I figured, why not? And if I didn't like it, I could always use it as a frisbee or something. But not so much on a feminist note. I've actually been yelled at both for not supporting the new Will and Grace. I think Will and Grace is fucking awful. And for not supporting Difficult People, I think it's called, which is supposed to be Will and Grace if they were horrible people, or something like that. I absolutely hated both shows, and I never fought to have either of them canceled. I've never fought to prevent people from enjoying them, but I've been yelled at for simply not wanting to support what I think is bad media. It's not even about LGBT portrayal, although I can definitely make an argument for why Will and Grace is really bad at that. It's just for being terrible media I don't enjoy. Why? Why should I support something that's bad? Doesn't that just send the message that we will buy anything LGBT just because it's LGBT? I think it does. So, I'm not saying here that you can't criticize a movie or think critically about a movie. In fact, I don't think I can turn that portion of my brain off. There's a trope on TV tropes called TV tropes will ruin your life because you end up thinking about all these things. And I didn't even need TV tropes for that. I had classes in critical thinking, and specifically in music and literature criticism, and so my brain has become wired to think about media in that way. But at the same time, I'm not constantly thinking, oh boy, I bet this will piss off the anti-feminists, or whatever it is I'm supposed to be thinking when I watch one of these things. You know, once in a while, I just want to enjoy a fucking movie without having to worry about whether or not somebody's losing their shit over it on the internet. Is that really so much to ask for? Thanks for listening. Amaranth out.